said that he was sick. I'm here sick. I guess that must mean he's sick.
Yeah. Oh well. I mean, I've been following this Ukraine situation. Oh my gosh, I didn't think they were going to go full on out. I thought maybe at the very most they would just take like those two regions, Luhansk and Donetsk, People's Republics, quote unquote. Didn't think they were going all out.
So it's full scale war.
It looks like that. It looks like it's full all on invasion because they're attacking from Crimea in the south, eastern Ukraine, and Belarus, which is a Russian client state.
So I heard that there's a section that's right next to Russia. That's the part that Putin wants, and those people speak Russian, and they are fidelities or towards Russia.
That's
Do you
the
know anything
Donbas
about that?
region. Yeah, that's the Donbas and Luhansk regions that have declared themselves people's republics.
Oh, I see. So that's what Putin wants to take?
Allegedly, but he might go all out. I mean, Putin's kind of a wild card right now.
Yeah. So do you know anything about well, the Ukraine government itself? Is that a corrupt government?
Very corrupt, very corrupt. It's funny because what you're hearing from like the Max Boot types and the Bill Crystal types right now on Twitter is that Russia is threatened by Ukrainian democracy because it could show what Russia could be as a liberal democracy. But I mean, the current guy Zelensky, he basically just jailed his top opponent right now.
So why are we getting involved in this?
Well, that's the question if we are or not. I mean, and how are we going to get involved? I don't see us getting actually like sending troops to go against Russian troops in Ukraine. This could potentially be something like what happened in Syria in the 2010s or Afghanistan in the 1980s, where we prop up so-called freedom fighters against the Russians. That's what
Oh, I
happened in
see.
both Ukraine and Afghanistan. Yeah, and
But
oh, good.
if we are getting our oil from Russia, and then Europe is dependent on this oil, it kind of doesn't make any sense that we would fight, be on the opposite side, because now we've made ourselves, the world is dependent on Russian oil. It doesn't seem to
Not just
make any
Russian
sense
oil, but
at all.
natural gas too.
Oh, and natural gas, and we've got loads of it under our feet. We've got
Yeah.
more than enough, and it burns because of fossil fuels, and we're supposed to be off fossil fuel, but we're buying fossil fuel from the guy who took the presidency away from Hillary. It's so crazy. It makes no sense at all to me.
Not to mention, we get a lot of like agriculture products from like fertilizer from Russia. I didn't know that. We purchased something like $700 million worth or billion, I forget. But it was like
Well,
rather
we
large.
wouldn't have to if we used our own petrol. It's made out of petrol.
Yeah, but
Because
yeah, it's just crazy. I have a book in my home at my house called Natural Gas as an Instrument of Russian State Power. It's a book from 2015, and it talks about the potential of Russia posing a threat that what the Arab states did in the 70s, where they cut off oil supplies to the Western world, and that's what caused stagflation throughout the 1970s. And he argues that Russia could very much do that with their natural gas supplying to Europe, which
yeah,
we're already seeing the
we've
oil and
become
natural gas
dependent.
prices shoot through the roof. Yeah.
It's absolutely absurd. Just finish the pipeline, allow drilling, because the world runs on oil and people are going to starve. This is going to be people around the world in third world countries are going to starve. They need,
And then
supplies. There's all sorts of things.
and then people in the global north,
What was that?
and then people in the global north, the developed countries are going to freeze their asses off in this winter, these coming winters, actually.
Yeah,
So I mean,
we're going to do burn trees.
yeah, it's not looking good
It's
right now.
absolutely absurd. What did you say?
Sorry. Sorry, I didn't. I was just trying to say that Yeah, it's just I've never seen anything like this before. I mean, I remember the Russian invasion of Georgia in 2008. And I was in high school at that time, or junior high, transitioning to high school, and people were freaked out about that. But now it's like we're on a totally different playing field right now.
Yeah. It's just like we're supposed to Jen Psaki. Did you hear that? Jen Psaki said when somebody asked her, what now? It's like we're supposed to be off of it. We're not. The world runs on it. We're not off of it. How we? It's like we've done something wrong by living the way they told us to live. You know, it's evil. I mean, this is how they're going to get us to lose our homes, lose our jobs because we can't get to the jobs. Um, this is what they're going to do. This is how the World Economic Forum is going to take over the world. And people are just going to die en masse from starvation, from exposure to the cold, from being pegged as a deplorable. You know, it's, it, I, I can't believe it. I can believe it. You know, you totally expected this to happen. And here we are we're an oil rich nation. We got coal, we got natural gas, we got everything. We could be selling it to the world. The world is dependent on Putin. It's like, and he's evil. It just doesn't. It's so evil that they said when Trump was out of office, they say now the adults will be in charge. None of them know what they're doing. They asked
I
Buttigieg.
remember, I think was it Biden said that if Putin didn't want him as president because he would stand up to Russia. Well, what's going on
Right?
right
Yeah.
now? I mean, there was no invasion of Ukraine during the Trump years. This is just insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Putin is going to be afraid of Biden or
No,
Harris
no, no. I
or
mean,
any of them.
the Putin
They don't
government,
know what
they look
they're
at
doing.
Joe Biden. They look at Joe Biden as a Boris Yeltsin like figure. I don't know if you know who Boris Yeltsin was. He was Russia's goofy drunk president in the 1990s when literally like 40% of Russian businesses were owned by the Russian mafia, and inflation went
Yeah,
to
there's
craziness in Russia. Go ahead.
I heard there was released conversation between Yeltsin and Clinton when Bill Clinton was in office, and
Mm-hmm.
Yeltsin said that Putin would be good to replace him. So apparently, I think the election was kind of rigged, you could say, but um, though I wouldn't. How could you put it past Russia to not? We assume all those elections are rigged. Um, but I guess Clinton knew about it, and he was very friendly with Russia. So the whole idea of Putin working against Hillary is absurd. It's people don't know how in bed these leaders are with each other, and the only one that wasn't in bed is the one that is no longer there, that should be there, because we would be having a war now. Um, I'm not sure. Do you think that the people are? Part of me goes, just listening to this administration. I think she was the head of manufacturing. She's got blonde hair, short blonde hair, and somebody asked her a question about getting supplies out, and she just busted out laughing. I don't know. I was like, oh my God. And then you've got Buttigieg there. Buttigieg, I don't know. He apparently they adopted 2 kids, and we've got the supply chain crisis. And he's just talking about being a father. He goes, I don't know. He doesn't know anything. He's not doing anything, and nobody
He's not going to be
was
able to
there
adopt
for
any
2
kids from
months.
Russia.
What's that?
He's not going to be able to adopt any kids from Russia.
I don't know where
that
he
and
got his kids from. But it's like they're not.
that and
Nobody's doing any work, and they
that
don't
and
know
the
what they're doing.
LGBT Pride Parade is going to be canceled this year in Kiev if Russian tanks are rolling in.
Oh yeah, supposedly Putin is against that, and also she. I mean, isn't it amazing how everything, Obama was supposed to be for the, LGBTQ community. He was supposed to be for, but then he pushed all manufacturing by putting out 22,000 regulations and making it extremely costly to make anything in this country, where we had carbon emission regulations, pushed everything into China where they have no carbon emission regulations, and she has basically outlawed homosexuality, and Putin too. I remember the Human Rights Campaign was sending out petitions to send to Putin because of when they were going over there for their Olympics. There was going to be demonstrations or something like that. So he was one of the countries which they'll mention Putin, but there are other countries that push homosexuals off buildings or hang them. But we won't mention those countries. But he's supposed to be. Obama was for the gay community. It makes no sense at all. It makes no sense at all. What's going on, and where people's allegiance lies doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see where this goes. I mean, I think this is going to cause a really serious reduction in living standards if this conflict continues, because everything's going to get a whole lot worse. Inflation's going to get a lot worse. The supply chain's going to get a lot worse. Oil and gas prices are already shooting through the roof. It's just insane. I mean, this was all going on before, and I don't like how they're trying to blame it all on Russia. But at the same time, all the stuff is going to worsen in the years to come.
Yeah, Trump had sanctions on the Nord Stream pipeline, but who were getting our fuel from America. I mean, our fuel, which was cheaper, cleaner, and we were selling it to Europe. I mean, that's why this wasn't happening. They say that every time the price of oil goes up, Putin goes in and annexes something from another country. He goes on the warpath because he's making all this money. Yeah,
I don't want to sound alarmist, but if I were in the cities, I'd get out.
Yeah.
In the months to come, I'd look to get out.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Our big cities. Was it? My dog's got to go out. Did you want to talk for a while? Oh, you said I gotta put my dog out.
Go ahead. Yeah. I'll find something to talk about or ramble about.
Okay.
So I'm gonna see about taking a look at the comments section here. This our winter of severe illness and death. That's true. I mean, especially in Europe, if Russia does do what the oil-rich Gulf states did in the 70s during the Yom Kippur War, and basically put us under an embargo, and as a response to the sanctions, this could get really out of hand, real bad, real fast. These past 2 years, it's been like Return of the Jedi. But if Darth Vader won, just unthinkable. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the whole situation, like these past 2 years have basically just felt like an extension of 2020. I mean, Peter Turchin, who is a historian who uses a lot of science to predict possible future events, he argues that the whole decade of the 2020s is going to be this chaotic. I recommend people look into his theory of history if you're interested. Time to buy 100 pounds of beans and rice. Yeah, I always recommend stocking up. I've been thinking about doing that, getting army supply rations and just keep them together. Let's see. Going up. I remember a year ago there were reports of Chinese troops doing drills in rural areas in Canada. That's interesting that it was reports of Chinese troops, Paul Rixlin. Um, Considering the fact that China basically owns Canada with finance and economics, but I don't know, the world's getting to be a really strange place. Have you heard deflated atheism? Have you heard of the fourth turning in American history is defined by historic turning separated by approximately 80 years? In every instance, the good guys win. Yeah, I have heard of that. I have. I'm not too familiar with it, but I know it's on the same level like Peter Turchin and the way he uses science and the rhyming of history to predict events. And as I said with Peter Turchin, he predicted that the whole decade of the 2020s is going to be really chaotic. But yeah, I believe the whole fourth turning that was part of the. It was a huge part of the Trump era. I remember. So yeah, it's fascinating stuff. I think. Let's see. Did you know Gillette razor blades are produced in Russia and in China? Wouldn't surprise me considering the fact that those are both second world, almost third world countries, both. But didn't think that they would allow a woke corporation to do that. But I guess if they're just manufacturing the stuff, it doesn't matter about the fuck all with the messaging. Let's see. Three Stooges. Why no one helping Ukraine? Well, because we're all so war weary from 2 decades of nonsense fighting in the Middle East. I mean, I think the thing of it is that Putin now feels emboldened to take Ukraine because of that embarrassing. Gosh, do I even call it an evacuation? That embarrassing incident in Afghanistan that was the fall of Kabul. I think now he's looking. Putin is rightfully looking at the U.S. empire as one in decline and one that's weirdly mirroring the fall of the Soviet Union. I mean, the Soviet Union faced many of the exact same issues that we're facing right now, an increasingly stagnant economy, ethnic groups that don't like each other and don't have anything in common with one another, an aging leadership. That's another thing that both the late stage U.S. and late stage USSR is facing. So yeah, there's that. Will Snapchat or Stripcat chat go out of business? Most their strip chat are from Ukraine. I mean, I guess so. I mean, I don't think we're gonna see any more of those Russian bride sites anymore. hmm. Rob deflating atheism. The left called Hong Kong pro-democracy protesters white supremacists because they carried Pepe the Frog signs. Everything is white supremacist these days. So, like, when the current power elite are actually supporting white supremacists in the form of the Azov battalion in Ukraine, no one fucking believes them anymore. Let's see. Read all the good comments, so let's see what's going on in the news right now.
So, what were you talking about?
Oh, I was just reading a lot of the comments out, so and responding to them.
Oh, that's good. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah. The conversation is like going, and I'm trying to remember things because I'm forgetting because like I said, I was drinking red wine. It usually helps my asthma when I feel like I'm having an asthma attack. It doesn't seem to be helping. I don't know why. I took all my medication, my asthma medication not working. So, deflating atheism, you didn't want to come on? Chrissy's not gonna. You're not gonna answer. You don't want to come on, Rob? Okay. So you are thinking that this is as bad as it gets. It's going to get worse.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
Yeah. This is all intentional.
Yeah, I mean, the thing of it is that this isn't like when Russia attacked Georgia. Georgia was a small little like second world country, and at the time we didn't know where Russia was going. We didn't know if it was going to westernize or if it was going to continue to be revanchist. But now this really, I think, solidifies a revanchist Russia. So yeah, the Cold War is pretty much on the table now.
So yeah, but so why are we're letting it happen? I mean, we could be completely independent of it. They can take whatever they want as far as countries go, but they're not helping us. They're not helping the American people. They're not helping the citizens of the world because everybody's dependent on Russian oil now. They're why? Other than yeah, you will own nothing and you will be happy. These are huge steps. I think they're afraid that what happened in the last election might not happen again. The fortified election, because people, I think, because they're coming down so hard, even their people will say, "We don't want any of this," So they're making it so there may not be another election. That's why they're doing everything that they possibly can. They're breaking everything that they possibly can, going scorched earth, so to speak, because this is their chance.
A lot of this does have to do with the geoeconomic situation. If you study World War II and the lead ups to it, I mean, both Imperial Japan and Nazi Germany almost had to launch their wars of aggression, otherwise their economies would have essentially collapsed. And right now, both Russia under Putin and the Western world are facing severely stagnant economies. So, and the only really way out would be to launch some kind of conflict. But I don't know. That could be so. Yeah, it would be an end all life on Earth situation. They really go forward.
So, do you think Putin's designs, or actually, well, let's Xi as well? This is their way to take the world. Just literally walk into America and take it.
I don't think we're going to see Russian or Chinese troops in like San Francisco, but this is a way of solidifying that they're challenging that the Western-led world order is dead.
Yeah. So they're not. So I kind of assume President Xi's been president of America for quite a while now. I when Obama was in office, I actually felt that because we owed China so much money, and we are completely dependent on them. That's why after the pandemic started, Trump realized that all our medicine, antibiotics, everything is in China. We're completely dependent on China. So he went to India to try to get the manufacturing moved over to India because he knew he could trust India. But then, you know,
India is a
the
bit of a
shit hit the
wild card
fan.
because they do prefer the U.S. to China, but at the same time they've had historically good relations with Russia going all the way back to the Soviet era.
So they might side with Russia.
Yeah, because the Soviet Union came to the aid of India during the Sino-Indian War of 1962, and when the INC
Mm-hmm.
government, the Indian National Congress government, was in power, the Soviet Union was the major supplier of the Indian armed forces.
Well, if we sent all our manufacturing to to India, then India would be making a tremendous amount of money. So that would be an incentive to be on our side. I mean, that's what he was planning on doing. I
Yeah,
was
but that
think
was
that
kind of the intention behind China too, that uh, giving all this aid and all this manufacturing to China was going to make liberalize them and make them a democracy, and I think we see the fruits of that right now.
yeah, okay, that was never going to happen. But India, it's possible. Um, it, I would see that it would be at least that they would be friendly to us, and that it would also bring, if they made a lot of money, it would bring them up to a first world country if we gave them that much business.
It's hard to say, I mean, I'm always a bit of a pessimist, but I just wish that cooler heads would prevail.
Yeah, part of me goes, geez, you kind of, but this is exactly what they hoped that the Trump administration would do, that they would just give up and walk out. That you would think the Democrats would just say, this isn't going well. We're just going to walk out and let Trump take over. Uh, and if that's the case, then technically you ruined his first term. I mean, you with all these investigations, they knew it was a complete lie. They didn't do anything to help the American people. It was just to try to get Trump out. Basically, I think they owe us 4 years, and they owe us another 4 years and another 4 years. I mean, it's like if you wanted to take over, let him run for at least 8 more years uh, to fix everything up. Why do you think is there a reason? Do you think that all these politicians have jumped on the bandwagon of the World Economic Forum, climate change? We know that's bullshit. Um, why why do you think so many leaders, they've indoctrinated so many leaders, the Democrat Party? What kind of psychosis has gone on around the world? Or did they get these people young enough so they could brainwash them? What happened?
A bit of all. I mean, we have this new generation of Zoomers who are coming to age, and if you look at priorities for Zoomers, half them don't even know what gender they are, and and they're concerned about climate change. Those are the top two issues for them: is gender confusion and
Well,
climate change. But the thing of it
I
is, they're
think
also so good.
the whole everything that the Democrats are pushing all points to a decrease in the world population. They're for abortion. They're not for intact families, which grow big family. Um, they're they're into drugs coming over the border, and it's people dying of drug overdoses, and suicide is skyrocketing.
A potential
It's all
nuclear war with
this.
Russia.
It's all this death march, and also when I was younger, we knew about people who transitioned to the sex that they believed that they were. And my mother explained it to me that that they had to be an adult to make this decision, to know what they were doing, and they had to go through lots of counseling to know, because to do that big of a change, you have to be absolutely sure of it, and you definitely don't want to start when they're children and give them those puberty inhibitor drugs. But now, if we don't allow this, the child will be taken away from the parents. And if you do this to a child when they're young like that, obviously they're not an adult to make this decision. And then you start giving them these puberty blockers. What it does is not only have you, there's nothing worse than when hormones goes off and kids can't even deal with their own hormones going off when they go into puberty. That they're basically pushing people to make this decision quickly. They support them like crazy when they want to change sexes, and they get the attention. And then when a lot of them are actually trying to change back, and the community totally turns their back on them, they're alone. If you want to change back, you're completely alone. So that would be, feeling abandoned might make someone commit suicide. There's a high suicide rate in the transgender community as it is. But also, when you encourage someone as a child who cannot make these decisions, they may be right, but when they're adult, they'll realize, okay, yes, that's what I wanted. You're basically destroying the ability to have children. They're pushing every single thing that destroys the ability to have children.
Yeah, there's always these newspapers that are promoting like childless lifestyles, and we're starting to see more and more of them promoting like singleness too. Just like, oh, you don't need a partner, let alone children. Just live as a totally atomized individual. And I'm like, whoa, what the hell? I mean, we see loneliness, anxiety, depression. It's all shooting through the roof because people aren't doing what, even from a purely biological standpoint, they're supposed to be doing, which is having families.
Yeah, it's basically, it's like it's a way to lower the population, but it's also a way to, if a person if they're pushed into doing to change, making such a major change, and they really feel like they didn't want to do it when they realize it was a mistake, that's so devastating. And I've heard these people being interviewed, and they said that it's only cosmetic, it's only superficial, and when I wanted to change back, I was completely abandoned. We've come to this, society has changed so much that it used to be when children were harassed or badgered, or like white people are evil at birth just because of their skin. These kinds of things cause suicides, and it there was a normalcy in society where they'd come to the aid of someone who was being villainized unfairly, just because we cared about suicide, we cared about people's their mental state. And now the whole push is to drive people insane, and drive them insane, give them psychosis, and drive them to suicide or to drugs, to die one way or the other. And to a striking blow. But it's such an evil way. It's like we've understood wars and people die in wars, but this is like a slower way to not only, you're not just killing people, you're not just preventing births, you are taking their brains and you're just twisting them, are emotionally destroying them, emotionally destroying their identity. We're not allowed to be a certain identity or identify a certain way. It's like an evil, what do you call it, one of those Bond villains, or somebody that really wants to do the slow kill. Those who don't outright commit suicide, they will slowly destroy you. It's like somebody's out there who hates humanity so much that they're trying to kill us in every way possible, and making carbon emissions feeds plants. They need it. And this whole idea, these kids think that,
well, that's another thing
carbon is
that's
going
coming.
to kill all these plants.
That's another thing that's coming, is that there's going to be carbon emission taxes, and what is it? This is why they want to set up like a social credit system, because eventually they want to set up like carbon caps on individuals. So if your bath is a little too hot, then you're going to get a notification that you lost some points.
Oh my God! And with China, who invented this credit system, they can't stop putting up coal-fired power plants. There's absolutely no carbon regulations at all in China, these countries. But here, we're going to destroying the poor. If you've got tons of money and power, you're fine. If you don't have anything, they're literally, they hate the poor so much that they really want to destroy us. They want us to commit suicide, just like Mao took over China. He had the Red Guard drive the people crazy, that people were committing suicide. They couldn't take the torture anymore.
Yeah, those are called struggle sessions. But Felina, I gotta go because I've been called into my work a little early. So I'm sorry.
Right. My dog's calling me. And Rob, Deflating Atheism, you don't want to come on? He could be gone already. You sure you don't want to come on, Rob? No, he's probably, maybe he has left the building. Okay. Well, then
I'll see you around.
Okay. Take care.
Bye.
There.
Bye.
Right. Bye-bye. Okay, everybody. I wanted to get all that in a nutshell. That this is basically, this is what's going on, and the driving up of gas and oil prices. By doing something ridiculous, we've got this all under our feet for free, and we're going to destroy this nation and the world by being dependent on Putin for our oil. This way, the cost of everything is going to go through the roof, and we're going to lose everything. We're going to lose we will own nothing. We will have no home. We won't be able to get to work. This will destroy everything, and they're doing it on purpose. And so, boiling it down, this war, what's going on, the war is here. This is the war. If Russia and Ukraine have a war, that's between Russia and Ukraine. And we can support in other ways, but the war is here. This is the war. This country is the war. We've got a party that one side hates us for no reason, for made-up reasons. And there's no such thing as compassion and love anymore, empathy for people who suffer. We just have to shut up. One group can destroy people, a city, murder, steal. They're fine. Yet, if you want to speak your piece peacefully, you're evil. You're a white supremacist. The war is here, and we don't realize that that's what's happening. And sadly, nothing we can really do about it. What can we do about it? We went and we voted. We didn't expect this. I'm sure a lot of Democrats didn't expect this either. But then again, if they're getting their news from the mainstream media, you know what they're hearing. I almost think I would do a prayer stream, but I almost think that there's nothing. I almost think nothing is going to help. I don't know why I feel this way, and it seems hopeless, doesn't it? I just hope they wake up. Somebody wakes up. It's like, you can't do this. You could destroy everything. And the thing is the people who are on our level that are helping this happen, they don't realize. They think that they're going to be on top. They think that they won't go to jail. They won't be tortured. They'll be compensated for helping this along and censoring us. They don't realize that anybody who would do this to their people, so letting this go on, this tyranny, they're not going to treat anyone right. Not even those who are working with them up there. They're not going to treat anyone right. And it's going to be too late. They're going to learn too late what the truth is. And anyway, I didn't mean for this to be this long. I hope to come on again soon, and hopefully anybody out there who wants to come on the show and speak your piece, if you want to say something, sometimes just having a place to say something, to reach out to other people, maybe in a small way we can help each other, especially get the truth out. We just want peace. We're just trying to eke out a living. We don't hate any minority. We don't hate anyone or whatever religion they are. That's such a lie. We just want peace and prosperity and happiness and to live in a safe world. And we want everyone to live in comfort. We do. That's all we want. And they're treating us like we were actually members of the Democrat Party. And slavery and KKK and Jim Crow laws. But we're not that. But the more they point at us, we don't, if they call us racist first, then we can't point back at them because they're the ones who are calling out racism. See, it's usually the one with the fault, the one who's really guilty. The faults you see in others are the faults you have yourself. You have to point to someone else so nobody looks at you. And I think there's a lot of that going on. But I do hope that people who are on the other side start hearing the truth and start waking up. Because this is just awful. So anyway, I say pray anyway. Even if you feel hopeless, it does feel hopeless. Pray anyway. I think if enough of us pray and enough of us stand our ground and say we're going to be good people, no matter what you call us, no matter what you do to us, we're going to still be the people that we always wanted to be. We always want to see in this world. Anyway, God bless you, and thank you for joining, for coming on tonight. And next time you can come on if you like. Alrighty, good night.